The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out workers into the harvest field. And now, here's Reverend Sue.
Got joy in my soul. God is in control. I got Satan on my trail, but I'm singing all is well. He's attacking every day, but I'm watching while I pray. No matter the attack, I won't turn back.
And thank you for joining us today. This is the Christmas holidays, and we are probably waiting on packages. If you notice, some of the grocery stores shelves are empty, but not as much items that you're used to. So a lot happening. So what we decided to do is to talk about truck drivers, mainly because about 71% of U.S. goods are transformed by truck drivers. And if you have noticed, it's a hot item right now. So what we decided to do, because we always get the latest news and try to bring a guest on to give us the personal information. So today we have Reverend Don Hutchins. He is one of our favorite guests that we've had on several times on Sunday evening with Reverend Sue. But he is he's a pilot. He is a minister, and he's a computer expert, you name it. But one thing that he is now, he is a truck driver, and he received his CDI, and basically he is going to tell us what's happening with the industry as far as truck drivers is concerned, commercial drivers. So thank you, Reverend Don, for joining us today. It's a pleasure to be with you. And I know that you're excited about your new adventure. So just tell us a little bit about what's happening, because I'm hearing of the news, I'm reading articles, and how many people now the industry really need to carry out this whole occupation as truck drivers.
Well, good evening, Reverend Sue. Thank you for having me. And yes, this is my latest hobby. I'm a self-proclaimed hobbyist. I do a lot of things, and some of them it borders on the professional, and this being one of them. As a commercial truck driver, I'm a professional truck driver, and I really didn't think of truckers as professionals. I don't know why I didn't prior to the training that I took. But when I jumped into the class and began to explore all of the regulations that we have to know and all of the things involved with trucking, I really quickly realized this is a profession of professional drivers. They're not just people who get in trucks and drive, but they are professional drivers, and laws are built around that. In fact, when a police officer stops a truck driver and they see CDL on the license, they expect a certain standard from truck drivers. And all of these things have really brought me to the point where I see them in a whole different light now. As you mentioned, if our viewers have ever been out on the roads, any at all, you see big trucks, we call them, tractor trailers, and they are going to and fro. And particularly if you travel at night, you see many of them who are on the highways at night because traffic is less at night. And it's a great time for truckers to be able to get here to there without being caught up in rush hour and the other things, particularly the problems that happen around urban areas. And as you mentioned, over 70% of all of our goods are transported via trucks. And for those who may be saying, well, why don't we transport more things via rail? Well, the railways are an excellent way to transport goods, and one train can transport hundreds of containers, which would take hundreds of trucks off the road. But the problem is our railways don't go everywhere. Truckers can go just about anywhere. So it makes it a necessity to use truck drivers to get many of the things that we need to us. Christmas is in a few days. And I know of retailers, I just heard this on the news today, that they've been waiting for stuff for months because of the backup. Not all of that is attributed to truck drivers. In fact, most of it is not attributed to truck drivers. There are problems with shipping containers being stuck offshore and longshoremen and having the available people power to be able to bring them on. And then there is a trucker shortage, as you mentioned. I heard a statistic that said prior to the pandemic, we were about 60,000 truckers short. That number, they say, has gone up to 80,000 since the pandemic.
About 8,000. We need 80,000 truckers to actually do the job that commercial truckers do.
To meet the need. 80,000 additional truckers.
Additional truckers. So I might just change, take a class and become a CDL. I mean, and the salary's not too bad, right? So what's motivating people to become a trucker now? Because
that's a great question.
Additional 80,000, and they're talking about 18 to 21-year-olds, or what can motivate us to become truckers?
There are lots of reasons. My class had 13 students in it. I went to CCBC, the Community College of Baltimore County. They have a wonderful CDL program that I was fortunate enough to get in. In fact, the picture on my background is a picture of most of our class and some of the instructors at the school. And these are professional truck drivers who have anywhere from 5 to 35 years of experience, who are the instructors at the school. And they become instructors because they have the experience that they can now give to new prospective truck drivers, people who desire to learn the profession. And one of the things that drives people is money. It is something that you can earn a lot of money in if you are one who wants to hit it really hard and you don't mind going all the time and being out. So money is one of the reasons why somebody would want to become a truck driver. You ask why. Some people don't like having a boss. One of the parts of trucking are owner operators. These are women and men who have their own trucks, who have their own companies. They work for themselves and they don't have a boss. They get to pick whatever runs they want, take whatever loads they want, and nobody tells them what to do. They only have to follow the regulations that are outlined for the industry. So that's one of the motivating factors. Some people are free spirits. They want to be out and drive and want to see the country. And over the road, OTR, or long haul trucking, these are the people who drive from coast to coast and everywhere in between. That's a motivation for some people. They want to get out there and be in with people. They want to be out and about. They want to see the world, see the country, as it were. And some of my instructors, one of my instructors in particular, Alan, he said he traveled the lower 48 and Canada. That's the lower 48 states, every state except Alaska and Hawaii and Canada. And he did that for a number of years. So you get to
it's nothing like when you're OTR, it's nothing like, it's no big deal to travel from, say, Washington, D.C., where we are, to California.
Absolutely. They do it all the time.
Right. Do it all the time.
And it takes several days, of course, to do it because there are regulations. You can only drive so far. And those are safety regulations to make sure that people aren't out on the road too long, that they get the proper amount of rest and those kinds of things. But yeah, you can take the northern route or the southern route. You can go up, depending on where in California you're going. If you're going to Sacramento or somewhere way up in North California, you might take the northern route across the country. But if you're going to San Diego, you're going to take the southern route across the country. So there are different routes. Or if you're going in the middle, you may take I-40 or somewhere. So there are different routes that you can take to get across the country to get, say, from Washington, D.C. to California.
And that's why I think it's so important that we have this show today to talk about truckers, because we on the road, we see truckers, we pass by, we see them, and we have family members also own their own business as a trucker. But I don't think, and I'm speaking for myself and others, I don't think that we take it very serious until now. That now we're coming out to the responsibility of a trucker, the importance of a trucker, and those shelves are empty. The shelves are empty. And how do we think the shelves are empty? Because we need an addition of 80,000 truckers out here to bring the food and everything that we need to our grocery stores, to to our regular mall or to the commercial businesses. We need truckers to do that. So now we travel. Yes, everything. I mean, it's unbelievable.
From eggs to iPads, everything that we buy. And even if you're an online shopper, guess what? A trucker brings that too. Right.
Online shoppers. We still need truckers. So some of the facilities are pretty bad when truckers are traveling. The bathroom, the facility is just not good. What are they doing in reference to this? I think the president proposed a bill in reference to that. What are they doing?
Big business. I'm telling you, there are about 5 or 6 major truck stops. You have, I'll call them mom and pops that are regional maybe, but you have Love's, you have Pilot, you have TA, and Flying J are 4 of the big truck stops. And those tend to be the nicer truck stops that the majority of the truckers like to use. In fact, one of the things that we talked about in class was when you start driving, find one that you want to affiliate with. So that means go out and stop at all of the different ones. Look at how clean the facilities are. Look at how clean the showers are. Look at how, and they have a lot of amenities for truckers that you really wouldn't realize. If you're just in a car and you roll into a truck stop, maybe you get gas or maybe you go in and use the bathroom. I've been checking out bathrooms for a long time. I knew truck stops had the best bathrooms. I knew that just from my history of driving back and forth to Georgia for the last 35 years or so. And what I've come to realize is they have showers for truckers. And when you have the different rewards programs and all of these big truck stops have them, you can schedule your shower time if you know what time you're coming in. You can schedule it. You can schedule a parking spot for your truck so that you have a reserved parking space. So they're getting there. It's huge business though. There are millions of truck drivers on the road, and any truck stop that doesn't take it seriously stands to lose a lot of money, because if you get this rewards program, then you have all of these truckers who are loyal to your rewards program. They're buying their fuel from you, and the trucks burn a lot of diesel fuel. So they're buying their fuel from you. That means that they're putting money in your pocket for fuel, which is a huge expense. They are using your facilities to take a shower and bathrooms and all of that. But at the same time, they're shopping in your stores. Go in any of these stores and they have all kinds of things that truck drivers and regular people might want to buy. Everything from gloves and GPS systems and headsets. Truckers, they wear a different headset. I got some of the stuff that truckers generally wear. This is one of the headsets that truckers wear. It's a lot bigger than a regular earbuds or whatnot, because it has excellent noise cancellations. You're in a big rig and you got this powerful engine making all this noise, but it has excellent noise cancellations. They sell these kind of things in the stores. So you can sell all sorts of things that truckers might need and want. So they're putting more money into you. So it's a very lucrative industry, these truck stops, and they should do a better job of catering to people who are on the road 8-10 hours a day driving. Many of them, their trucks have sleeper berths. If they sleep in them, the sleepers, they call them. They need a nice, warm, clean place to use a bathroom, to shower, and they have other lounges and other things for truckers as well, because they realize if you're out there on the road for all these days and days and weeks at a time, when you come into a place to get fuel and to rest, you need a place that's welcome. I mean, that's warm, that's inviting. And so I think that it's probably sad that legislation has to be put forth for that, but it makes perfect sense that they would make it better for the people who really mean so much to us. They bring all of our produce, they bring meats, they bring all of our other cereals and breads. All of these trucks deliver all of this stuff, not to mention all our clothing and all of the other things that we buy. So it's a big deal. If you want to take care of the people as a traveler, if you're out on the road traveling, nobody likes to stop at a dirty bathroom or anything like that. Imagine if you were on the road all the time, this was your job, you certainly wouldn't want to go into a facility that is dirty or anything. You want it warm, you want it inviting, you want it clean. You want people who are friendly and welcoming towards you. So I think that those are great ideas to take care of and to help to, I don't want to use the word lure, but invite other people to become truckers.
Brothers and sisters, we're talking to Reverend Don Hutchins. He has his license, CDL license. He's gone through training, and he cannot wait until you get on the road to do some traveling. And again, we need an additional 80,000 truck drivers as we speak. It's an interesting thing also that more women are becoming truck drivers. Can you speak on that a little bit?
That's a great point. The class that I was in, there were 13 students in my class, 3 of whom were women. And while I was at the school, Nora O'Donnell of CBS fame, she's on the CBS Evening News, and she's also on 60 Minutes. She came and did a special at our school, CCBC. And Reverend Sue, I will get you that link so you can post that link in there for people to go and check it out. It's about a 3-minute interview she did. And that question was asked of Stacy, the person who runs the program at my school. Stacy is a former CDL truck driver herself, and her husband as well. And she said that women are being drawn in bigger numbers to drive trucks. I talked to the ones in my class and asked them why they were looking at doing it. And in fact, Nora interviews Letitia, one of the girls in my class, in that little segment that I'm going to send you, and ask her that question, why in the world? And one of the things that she said is because financially, it allows you to be able to do some things on a quicker scale than some of the other lower paying jobs, minimum wage jobs. There's an opportunity to earn. I've heard of truck drivers earning $300,000 a year. That is no small sum of money. So money is one of the reasons why women are doing it. When you talk about truck drivers, I have to let you know that there are basically 4 segments to truck driving. There's a local segment. They're the people who stay local. They're the ones that drive trucks around their home every night. They go out and they drive a truck for delivering things, and it can be everything from dump truck drivers or CDL drivers, concrete, people pouring concrete, those big trucks with the thing that turns, the drum that turns. Those are all school bus drivers or CDL drivers. Those 3 are all Class B. Class A are the combination vehicles, the tractor trailer vehicles, and there are women who do that as well. And so the local drivers are home every night. Then there are regional drivers who have a particular region. Maybe you are on the Northeast coast. Maybe you run from DC up to New York and back, and that's the region. And maybe over to Pennsylvania, and maybe occasionally up to Connecticut, maybe down to North Carolina. But that region, you're regional. That's the second group. The third is a dedicated route, where you may run from here to Pittsburgh or here to Cleveland and back, and that's your dedicated route. Or you run from here to New York City and back. That's your dedicated route. So they're dedicated. And then the 4th category is that OTR one that I mentioned, over the road, the long haul ones. Those are the ones that go from anywhere from here to Texas to California to Manitoba, Canada. They go all over. They're the over the road kind. And those are the ones that are generally on the road for weeks at a time before coming home. And some of the women, they like the fact that they can do local or even regional, generally will have you back home at night, that night, or dedicated will as well. And so the women I talk to, a lot of the reasons why they're looking into it is they can be home at night with their children. They can get up, be gone early. And a lot of truck drivers get out at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, depending on where their runs are. And a lot of them are off by 2 or 3, so they can be home with their children. So a lot of the women, because it allows them flexibility to be able to earn a very good income and at the same time still be at home, not have to be over the road and out if that's not their choice. So those are some of the reasons the women in my class mentioned doing it. And it gives them great job security.
Yes. So are we stereotyped when it comes to, well, I'm not gonna stop at this gas station because there's truck drivers are here. I hear people say, don't be around truck drivers. Are we pretending, or is there some way that we can, is there's truth to that? We got truck drivers, women are out there driving, men are driving, and you need gas, and you see all the truckers standing around. Have you heard about that during your training with CDL? That's something that trucks, yes.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because anytime you come to a truck stop, where the truck's fuel is going to be over here, where the automobile's fuel is going to be way over here. They're not in the same place. Now, when you go into the building, everybody comes together in the building, but the gas pumps are physically separated, and for obvious reasons. You don't want these little bitty cars zipping in and out of tractor trailers trying to get fuel. Another obvious reason is all these trucks use diesel fuel. Most of these cars use gas. So they have to be separated for that reason, but mainly geographically because you want an area where trucks can pull into and not have to deal with the auto traffic, and then they can go park in these parking areas that are designated for trucks that are separate from the parking areas for the cars. But some people will say, hey, I don't, want to be around a bunch of truckers. One of the things I've discovered about trucking and any other industry for that matter is that it is a microcosm of society. What that means is the same thing you get in society, you get in trucking. Church is a microcosm of society. The same people you get in society, you get in church, both good and bad. So there are great truckers and there are bad truckers. In fact, one of the programs that I had to go through and pass was called TAT, Truckers Against Trafficking. Human trafficking and sex trafficking is a huge problem in America. And truck stops can be some of the areas where these problems rise up because of the transient nature of it and all of this. And there's a program called TAT, Truckers Against Trafficking, whereby we've been trained what to look for, something that seems out of the norm with a young lady or even a young man who may be exhibiting a certain behavior or maybe propositioning you or that kind of thing. So truckers are not just bad people, but we're also good people who seek to do good. And the TAT program is a wonderful program that has helped to shut down many sex trafficking rings. So that's one of the good things about truckers. And truckers, anybody who really knows a bunch of different truckers, you know that they are very helpful for the most part. They are very helpful people because while most of them aren't mechanics, we have to have some kind of mechanical acumen to be able to negotiate, drive a tractor trailer and do it. And so there's a certain skill set and knowledge that comes with that. And we don't mind helping people. And so I think sometimes truckers may get a bad rap. And, certainly most people on the road when they're driving, get away from me, the truck, want to get around them, all of this and all of that. Well, what you don't realize is that truckers don't want you to be around them anyway either. They would much rather you be way away from them. That's why they should be leaving a lot of distance between themselves and the vehicle in front of them. And they don't like to be hemmed in and boxed in. Truckers hate that. And in the Norah O'Donnell special, one of the questions she asked Will, one of the lead instructors, she asked him what was one of the big dangers of trucking. And he said, driving in urban areas. Absolutely. Because you got so much traffic and people cutting you off. And of course, an 80,000-pound vehicle can't stop nearly as quickly as a little 3,000-pound car. And people cut them off and slam on brakes and all of this. And you got to realize how dangerous that is. And what truckers, we're taught defensive driving because we have to really be looking ahead, thinking if this person will cut me off, yes, they will. And so what do I do to prepare for that? So as much as people may not want to be around trucks on the road and truckers sometimes feel that way about people and not negatively. We want to make sure we are as safe as we can possibly be while we're out there.
And also speaking about women becoming very interesting and taking the classes to receive their CDL, do you see husband and wife?
Yes. There's a certain thing called teams. And in fact, two of the ladies in our class were sisters. And we teased them, you guys should be a team. And what teams allow you to do is you cannot drive any more than, except for the special circumstances, and there's some special categories that this doesn't apply to, but the most that you can drive during any one day is about 10 to 11 hours driving per day. Well, as a team, if you could drive 10 hours and then you can hop in the sleeper berth and go to sleep in the bunk, and then your team member drive, then you're covering the distance in half the time that'll take one trucker, a solo trucker, to do it. So there are teams that go about, and their husbands and wives and their siblings, and
Mhm.
they're just people, friends, people who know each other. So team driving is a big deal. And you, in fact, in many of the applications that you fill out, it'll ask that question: are you a solo or are you a team? Because and teams are really a great way for obvious reasons, not just that you can drive and they rest, and you rest while they drive, but also you have company, you have people in there with you to keep you company and all of that. So yes, that's very well known. And women are excellent drivers. The stigma we've heard for years, oh, women can't drive. That's from a male chauvinistic, crazy perspective. Women can drive just as well as men. They can drive
Well,
tractor
I'm glad
trailers.
you said that, because if you know me, you know me for some time, I'm a car person, and I know a lot about cars. Growing up in South Florida, I always wanted to be a racer, I always wanted to be a mechanic,
Right.
and have a business. So women know, I know about cars, I know about vehicles. So thank you for making that statement. So there are some women who actually thought about it. They should pursue it. If that's
This
what
woman
you
right
want.
here,
Yes,
that's Stephanie. She was one of our instructors.
yes.
The woman right here in this picture was one of our instructors at the school. So we even have women instructors, and she was very good.
So thank you, Don. Thank you so
You're
much,
welcome.
Reverend Don. And I know let me tell you this. I'm excited about what you're doing, because a while back when I was attending Wesley Theological Seminary, I thought about going to do a 2 weeks, kind of like a session working at the truck stops. And I didn't. And ever since then, I'm so happy that now we have a show that we can actually talk about what's happening with our truck drivers, what's happening at the truck stops, and making sure that they are safe themselves, as well as improving the facilities that they have to deal with on a daily basis. Some people say, why truckers drive so fast in bad weather? Well, they can handle the 18-wheeler that we look like we can't, but they're not going to be a danger to themselves as well and their families. So I am a person for our truckers, and I wish you well in your new adventure, I can say, as a CDL licensed truck drivers now. Make sure you're just not on the same road I'm on. We'll be friends. Just don't let me run into you. So, but no, only kidding. And so when you, as a minister, I know there's other opportunities that you go into. You just have opportunity to talk to our brothers and sisters about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Knowing you're going to do that. That's a whole different population that you have not been involved in. So I just thank God for you for being a part of this.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because people ask me all the time, well, what are you going to do with the CDL thing? And the real answer is I really don't know. But the reason why I believe God, number one, allowed it to remain as a passion of mine. And then if I had time, I could talk about how he orchestrated me getting into the class that I really wasn't supposed to get into, got into it late and finished it early, and how he just ordered every part of the process. I would know that this is something he's called me to do. And who knows, truck stops, people need to hear about Jesus. And who knows, maybe I'll be a traveling evangelist at truck stops preaching. We use CB radios still in the trucking industry, and perhaps there's something that I could do over the air to bring a message of hope and a message about Jesus. So I believe that God has called me to this, because just like there are preachers in every other area of life, I mean, there are preachers who are, I'm sure they're probably race car driver preachers. There are preachers who certainly do many other professions, who play football. I think of the late Reggie White, who was a preacher and a football player, professional football player. Basketball players, I've known of them who were that. And in everybody's job, somebody knows someone who's a preacher. I think that trucking is no exception. We need to be able to tell people, even in the trucking industry, about the Lord Jesus Christ. And so I look forward to the opportunities to do that as well. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah. And to our brothers and sisters, when you see a trucker, think about yourself. They have a job and they're trying to accomplish the job to get goods to us. to get good to us. 71% of our goods are coming from truck drivers. So let us continue to pray for them, pray for their families, and that they will be the best that they could be. That's our challenge today, to pray for our truckers, so they will be the best that they could be. And we can continue to receive goods, because 71% of our goods coming from truck drivers.
Yeah.
So may God bless you. Yes. Mm-hmm.
One more thing. There's this big thing about whether or not truckers the age should be lowered to below 21, because right now you have to be 21 to be a CDL holder. And there's a big thing about whether or not it should be dropped to between 18 and 21. And as one who's a retired military person, and I know we put young people in ridiculous situations in the military, I think 18 is just a little bit too young for a person to be behind the wheel of an 80,000 pound vehicle. So me and many of the instructors and the truckers that I've talked with are in favor of them leaving it at 21.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so many things that are coming at you as a trucker. And as psychologists will often tell you, the human brain doesn't really stop developing until about age 25. So I just wanted to put that out there, because there's some legislation they've been talking about that as well.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Reverend Don Hutchins, for taking the time to be with us today. We're going to keep an eye on you, and we're going to keep you in prayer as well, you and your family.
Amen.
So for our listeners, thank you so much for being with us today. And we just pray that your Christmas is beautiful. Your Christmas is wonderful. And remember, the reason why we're celebrating Christmas, because of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. May God bless you and continue to be with you. You've been listening to Sunday Evening with Reverend Sue and our guest, Reverend Don Hutchins.
Merry Christmas.
In the streets, and the drug habits, some